The following presentation is brought to you by Heartland Media Group.
Capturing the moments that make life great.
Ladies all around the world, listen up. We're looking for you. The time has come to be unstoppable together. The danger of executive women is worrying we're not enough, obsessed with perfection and failing to perform. You're in the right place. It's now time to be unstoppable together with Connie Five. She was the director of the United States Chamber of Commerce and CEO of Girl Scouts USA. Sit down, squat down, or lie down. It's time for Up or Out, all business with Connie Five. Your unstoppable diva and chair of the Fife Group, helping women in leadership achieve excellence and be unstoppable together.
Hey there, it's Connie Fife, your Unstoppable Diva, and this is Up or Out with Connie. And today's guest is Richard Adair, and we're going to be talking about securing your personal data, your personal information. And what can I say? We're going to make it really exciting and really interesting because it is something that you need to know, that you need to learn about. And so today's quote for this week, I pulled it from Barack Obama, and it's: in a world of complex threats, our security and leadership depends on all elements of our power, including strong and principled diplomacy. And so my challenge question to you then is, when it comes to your important documents, whether it be business documents, personal documents, what are your security strategies? Are they too complicated? Well, today you're going to learn how to make them uncomplicated. And Richard Adair is going to share all of that with us in just a few minutes, but I want to take a really quick sponsor break, and we'll come right back, and we're going to dive right into how to protecting your security and your private documents. Hang in there. Hi, this is Connie Five, your Unstoppable Diva, host of Up or Out with Connie. I am thrilled to be a headliner host on the C-Suite Network, where you can grow your brand, grow your tribe, and be unstoppable together. We are the hottest podcast for C-level executives and entrepreneurial leaders. Each week, we interview content leaders on leadership, personal brand, business, and influence. Continue to hear me right here on the C-Suite Network, also on iHeartRadio, SiriusXM, iTunes, and over 900 networks around the globe. Follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter because you don't want to miss any of the good stuff. Until next time, this is Connie Five, your Unstoppable Diva. Be bold, be connected, and be unstoppable together. And we're back, and you're listening to Up or Out with Connie. Now it is time to turn up the volume because with us we have Vice Chair of Future Vault, Richard Adair. So Richard, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Connie. Thanks for having me.
So I was doing some research about you, and like I said, I was doing some stalking and trying to learn more about you, about your company, and about your organization. Now, you are really focused on security concerns about personal data. Now, I have to be honest with you; it drives me crazy. And just a couple of weeks ago, somebody had fun with my own personal credit card. And so, of course, that was a nightmare. And I had a deal, with the bank and get a new card. And so now I'm changing everything. So how do you protect yourself from something like that happening? And I think that I'm pretty good with that, but apparently I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a great question. I think, where we start when it comes to security, I think everybody's at risk and they may not be educated as to why. And so what most people do is they use their email as their filing cabinet for documents.
Right.
They'll get an email with an attachment and then not download it to their desktop or their home computer and delete it. So basically, you go through anybody's email, there's tons of all these attachments. And at times, those are important personal, financial, or legal documents.
Okay.
So what we're trying to educate people here is to say, you shouldn't be using email as a filing cabinet. You should get a digital filing cabinet, which is what Future Vault is. And that's a way to securely organize and store all those documents and then access them from anywhere in the cloud. And a lot of people say, oh, I'm worried about the cloud. What if you get hacked? Well, first of all,
isn't that dangerous too, putting it out there in the cloud?
Well, there's really two answers to that. One is you're in the cloud now with your email. So anybody who's got email with an attachment, that's sitting in the cloud completely unsecure.
Okay.
Anybody using Dropbox, for example, is completely unsecure. So what we've done is our digital filing cabinet is the highest level of security. When your documents come into our vault, they get encrypted. So basically, if somebody ever hacked through our hardware and software and got into our database, they'd have to go into each vault holder's vault, into each folder, and then go to each document one at a time and decrypt each document. And so that's a lot of effort and time. And by the time somebody starts to do that with our monitoring systems, we feel we'll be able to catch them. So you can never say you're unhackable. What we've done versus other companies like Yahoo, a billion people were hacked because Yahoo had secure hardware and software, and I'm sure they're compliant with a whole bunch of standards.
Right.
Boosts their way into their database, and nothing's encrypted in the database. So we're doing bank-grade encryption of all the documents to make it that much harder to get hacked. And by the time somebody starts doing it, we feel we'll catch them.
All right. And then it always goes to my next question is, what do these people think that are doing this? I mean, they're staying up at night and they're coming up with these systems to go in and hack all of these systems. Like last year, we had that whole debacle with Target, where they were going in there around the holidays and they were pulling everybody's credit cards. So it's like, to me, it's like, don't they have anything better to do? Like spend that time, spend that energy on something really positive. I mean, I know that's just like a tirade that I have, so why do people do this? It's like crazy. And I mean, it really creates a lack, no peace of mind to think, like me, like I said, I thought I was pretty secure until a few weeks ago. Well, first it started where I was traveling in San Francisco, then I traveled to Dallas, and when I was there, I got a phone call from some woman wanting to hire me to speak, and then it turns out, well, we're going to give you all these evening gowns, and we're going to give you a private assistant and limo, and I was like, all right, send me the information. I know this isn't for real. And then the next day, I find out that my card is being used by somebody in San Francisco. And it turns out that they had a lot of fun in a cross-dressing boutique in San Francisco. And I'm like, okay, that was not me, because I wasn't even, near there. And I'm definitely not a cross-dresser. But so me, I'm thinking, okay, did one lead to the other? Because it was only within a 24 hours that the one call happened to go to the other. So how can we use smart technology, smart filing system to organize our life, but to also have that peace of mind?
Well, it's a great question. And I'm not going to talk to the credit card payment side of the world because we're not involved in that. But to what you were saying, cybercrime is the big growth area for criminals, and criminals are going to find ways to steal, and they're going to spend all their time figuring out how to do it. So we spend a lot of time as a newer company. They have too much time. The advantage we have is because we're a couple of years old, we built our architecture around bank encryption level security from day one. You look at Target and you look at Yahoo and these other companies, many of those, believe it or not, Yahoo's about 25 years old. So some of the technology in their architecture didn't plan for these sort of attacks. Because we're newer, we build our system from day one to handle them. But I think the peace of mind, it's actually an interesting area, because what we're finding with the digital collaborative vault is a lot of people see this as a great tool in estate planning. So the number of clients I have that say, hey, sometimes when I go away on a business trip and small business owner, the spouse will be saying, well, what happens if something happened to you? I don't know where anything is. And it becomes very distressing for people. And actually a personal example, my father passed a couple of years ago. And my mom was the executor, and he was a consultant and had his own home office downstairs. So she spent the better part of a year going through filing cabinets, picking up floppy disks for computers that no longer exist. And she said, you know what was hard? It's, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know if I'm missing an insurance policy that could give me money for the estate. I also don't know if his consulting company has a debt I'm going to have to pay to somebody. So it added so much more stress on top of the grieving process. So what we're saying about using a digital collaborative vault like Future Vault is sit down with, if you're a financial advisor giving it to a client, sit down with your clients, get everything organized between the husband and spouse. And basically, once you do that, then permission the kids into the vault, just into the estate planning folder to show them, hey, we're organized. Here's the will. The original copy is located at this bank in this safety deposit box. So everybody has peace of mind that when something happens to somebody, at least they're not having to deal with spending all their time looking for things that they know nothing about, quite frankly, because nobody's prepared to go through all their parents' stuff.
No,
so this is a way to create peace of mind and have dialogue around estate planning, not so much around inheritances and how much money I'm going to get, just that everybody knows if something happens, it's taken care of, and it's just one less stressor, right?
And I had to take care of that twice within the last couple of years. So you'll laugh. So Dad went first. Mm-hmm. So when he had passed, he left my mother a note. And he said, my last will and testament is behind the picture on the wall, the picture of the kids. It's behind the wall. And it's a picture of the kids when we were like 12 years old.
All right, okay.
So she takes the picture down, and behind there is his will and testament.
Right.
So again, it's not notarized. It's nothing. It's just something that he wrote out in a piece of paper. Yeah. And then he left clues. Oh, and then if you go to my trophy ward, if you go in there, you're going to find a key to a safe deposit box that she didn't even know about.
Right.
So it was like, a scavenger hunt trying to find things.
Right.
And then she passed last year. So she had things much more organized. But I remember when we were going through it, we were still finding notes from him.
Right.
And it said it was only a couple year difference. So we were still finding notes for him that she didn't even found. And there was actually a life insurance policy, and he was very sickly, and we didn't think he had any. There was actually one that he had from the military that she never located that we found. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then she was the beneficiary, but of course we had to go through probate, and we had to do a lot of things there. And we just finalized it last Friday.
Right. Exactly. It takes years, right? And what a lot of people, I've talked to a few estate lawyers, and a lot of people, at least your father had the note where the will was. A lot of people put it in a safety deposit box, and they don't know which bank, which safety deposit box, or where the key is. Right. So people are looking around like a needle in a haystack trying to find these things out. So this is just a much better way to get organized and have that peace of mind for everybody involved, right?
Well, it made sense where we had the key, because he was a big gambler in Atlantic City. And he had won this trophy box that was autographed by all of the players of the NBA, the All-Star team.
Nice.
So, of course, that itself was very valuable. But that's where we had the key hidden in that box.
Right.
So that was his valuable box. So that's where he put the key. We only knew of one bank because he never banked my mother out. He would always just give it to her.
Right.
So we figured, okay, that should be easy. But it took several years. He's been gone a number of years. Like, so she only passed a year ago. Mm-hmm. So, and it took all that time to really, so it's been years going through everything. So how can somebody, again, use this and have the same peace of mind? Now, you talked about your dad being self-employed and, and having things, or this friend and having things in the office. Then what about larger businesses, corporations? I mean, where do they still come in and have that peace of mind? Because there's so many layers deep. And how do you help them find that peace of mind and have the security that they need to organize, the life of their business?
Well, I'd say that we're probably more focused on small to medium-sized enterprises for two reasons. One is the actual vault was built around the founder's life as a complex individual, financially and legally. And so really targeting sort of not necessarily high net worth individuals, but certainly people that have their own businesses and have a complex situation. So we target that end individual, say a business owner, and then oftentimes they're coming to us and saying, hey, can I use this in my business? Because my small business isn't very organized and isn't very secure, and I'd like to do that. When it comes to sort of larger firms, they oftentimes have pretty good security protocols internally.
Okay.
And, you talked about the banking and credit cards earlier.
Right.
They're pretty on top of that stuff. But what we're actually saying to them is, if you can offer this vault on a branded basis to your end clients, say your best clients, it's a way not only for you to securely share documents with them, but to help them organize their lives. And what we find, actually, it's interesting, a lot of financial advisors and RIAs, even if their firm offers a secure portal where you can get your investment statements, for example, oftentimes during different events, maybe estate planning or tax season, whatever the case is, the client will email files back unsecurely. So they don't even use the portal and they get all these unsecure emails. And that's when people get their identity stolen.
Okay.
So basically, we're talking to advisors, and they're saying, you know what, we feel not only are we in a position to, but we probably have a fiduciary responsibility to educate our end clients.
Right.
If you're doing this, you're unsecure. Your email's all unsecure. Why don't you use this vault so you can organize your whole life and then stop using unsecure email? And that's really what we're trying to promote.
Okay. Well, I guess after I'm done, I'm going to be cleaning up my emails.
Exactly.
So Richard, how can folks hear and find out more about you?
So if you come to the website, you can set up a discussion with us. But really the way we're distributing the product is we're offering it through the financial advisors, insurance brokers, wealth managers, financial planners. So we're not a B2C offering where you can go to our website and just download it. We specifically built this around financial services industry offering it to their clients.
Oh, okay.
But if you contact us at our website and my details are there, we're also happy to give people trial accounts to try it out because we're still getting feedback on the product and how it works and how it can improve.
Okay, great. Well, we're going to take a really quick sponsor break. And when we come back, I'm going to be putting you in the hot seat because now we want to know more about Richard, about the man himself. So hang in there and we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Hi, this is Greg Davis. Connie asked me to pop in for a moment to tell you about a great opportunity. Have you ever listened to a podcast and thought, I should be doing that, but I don't know how, I don't know where to start? Well, Up or Out with Connie Fife has partnered with Park Lane Media Group to offer you PMR podcast production. What is PMR? Production, marketing, response. The three key elements you need to successfully build your podcast success. For more information, visit parklanemediagroup.com or email podcast@parklanemediagroup.com and be sure to let them know that Connie sent you. You have a story to tell. We'll help you share it. Come to parklanemediagroup.com today and start building your podcast success.
And we're back, and you're listening to Up or Out with WCONNIE. And joining us today is Richard Adair. And Richard, it is time for the hot seat. So are you ready?
Yes, I am. All
righty. So we are going to zip through really quick. And so we're going to start with, what is your favorite success quote?
My favorite success quote? Yeah, you put me on
business quote. What is there something that just your affirmation that just keeps you going?
Well, my favorite business quote. This may be the wrong way to answer, but it's from the movie Wall Street, and it's when Gordon Gekko says, "Christmas is over and business is business." And the reason I like that quote is I used to do turnarounds and restructurings.
Okay.
And that's when business was business and you had to get stuff done. So.
And you just got it done. Exactly. So did you know what you wanted to do right from the start? Because it sounds like you've been in the financial business for quite a while.
Yeah, actually, that's a great question. When I was 12, I read the book Noble House by James Clavell.
Okay.
It was about business people flying all over Asia and setting up companies, buying companies. And I think right when I read that, I decided I wanted to be in sort of the financial area of business. And it's interesting because I actually went to university here in Canada for engineering with the idea I'd get my MBA and eventually do the business side. And 2 weeks into engineering school, I woke up in the middle of the night and said, I hate engineering and science. So I dropped out.
You're like, no!
I can't do this. So I dropped out and took an administrative studies course and then got into business school at the University of Ontario and then ended up doing my calling. But I had this crazy idea because my dad was an engineer. I should be an engineer first. And I'm glad I only wasted 2 weeks of my life on that. So.
Well, I started as a computer programmer. That was my nightmare.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I was like, what am I doing? This is not me. And switched into business. So pretty funny. So we all have failures along the way, especially if we're growing businesses. And so what would be some of your failures that you learned from that helped you find your success?
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. And I think, as I said, when I used to do turnarounds and restructurings, the firm I was working for was a boutique consulting firm in Toronto that specialized in that. But we were often brought in at the 11th hour when the company's almost out of money and the banks were closing and all that kind of stuff. So we always ended up getting the most value out of it. I don't think we actually lost any, but you'd sell it for whatever you could get to a strategic acquirer or somebody like that.
Right.
And so what I decided after doing that for about 5 years was I liked running companies and helping them grow, but you had to be in a situation where you had a chance, where you have enough runway and capital to actually do some cost cutting and implement some changes and grow revenues. When you've got 3 to 6 months to live. You're just basically trying to stop the cash flow bleed and just look for a buyer. So that's when I started to go to my own consulting business, focusing always on technology companies because I really enjoy they're dynamic and they're growing. And the neat thing about technology companies, especially earlier stage technologies like this, when you're creating something new, there's no real playbook on how you do it. So you go into a mature business like Procter & Gamble, there's a very set way on how you sell shampoo and how you get market penetration and how much you spend on advertising. When you get into tech companies earlier stage, it's we have to figure out the value prop. Where does it fit and what can you charge for it and what value do people see for that and what channel do you use? So I always like these early stage technology companies.
And that's when it's fun.
It's fun. You got to figure it out, right? And there's no set rules. So I kind of like that from an entrepreneurial point of view.
Cool. So what was that aha moment, the moment that you said, I got this. I know exactly what I'm doing?
Good question. I would say, actually I remember. So probably the first restructuring I went into, which was one of these ones that was in financial difficulty, all the managers came to me because they all had to get bills paid to fill shipments. It was a paper supply company. Big bales of paper. And I was probably 25 at the time, so very young in the role. I was CFO.
Just a couple years ago.
Yeah, just a couple, exactly. And I remember 4 different managers all came to my office, and they all needed me to release checks, to release POs so they could ship and fill their orders. And they're all coming at me, and I basically looked at them all. I said, "Can everybody leave my office?" And they all left. I sat down, I thought about it, and I looked at my cash flows, and then I brought them in, and I approved, I think, 2 of the 4.
Okay.
The 2 that I approved were the right ones, and the others were okay not having theirs shipped. And so everybody went, okay, he knows what he's doing. And so at that moment, you're kind of like, what do I do? And that's when I knew I could do it. So
okay. Well, they didn't know. I really just flipped the coin and said, which one is going first?
Try to make a rational decision. Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So if you knew then what you know now, what words of wisdom do you have to offer entrepreneurs or people stepping into the business world or engineering world today? What word of advice do you have for them to help them pursue their path to success?
Well, I think one of the things I like to focus on, especially being in technology, is you can have an idea or a product or a prototype or whatever the case is. But I think what's most important is to be agile. A lot of companies talk about being agile and nimble. Right. But what that means to me is trying things out in the market and then tweaking it or adjusting it. So you come with a certain offering, certain features, certain products, certain pricing, certain market segment, and you try it. And then based on all the feedback, as long as you listen, they'll say, well, I don't like that piece of it, but I like this. And that's how you evolve the product. Nobody, unless you're, sort of an Apple or something like that just creates something brand new, nobody knows exactly how to get it done. But if you listen to the market, it will guide you to what the market really is. And that's really important because I think a lot of people get stuck on, here's what it is, and this is my idea, and they never want to budge. And that's when people run into trouble.
Okay, Richard. So do you have any closing words for our listeners? Because that's all the time we had for today. So if you have anything that you want to add?
Yeah, sure. I think on our theme of security, I think if nothing else comes out of this podcast, you need to go into your email inbox. You need to download the files that are important to your hard drive if you don't have a vault or a future vault type offering. And don't let all your files sit there because they're completely unsecure and they can get hacked.
I know I'm going to be cleaning out my emails today. So, and to learn more about how you need to do that, contact futurevault.com and certainly ask for Richard and talk to him, and he'll give you some information, some updates, what are those must-haves to protect yourself so you can have peace of mind. So that's all we got for today, Richard. Thank you for being here today. This has just truly been awesome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And for everybody out there, I know our time always goes by so quickly, and I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of our community. If you figured it out and you're the leader that you want to be, help others do the same. It's always pay it forward, bring them up with you and help other people become successful and strong that they want to be as well. This is Connie Fife, your Unstoppable Diva, and always ask yourself this one very important question. If you could do something different to get a different result, what would that be? I'm Connie Fife, your Unstoppable Diva. Until next time, be bold, be connected, and be unstoppable together.